Welcome to Unveiling the Truth. We're your hosts, Nefer.
And Nelly. And today we're going to be talking about the most chilling confessions of exorcists.
Yes, so without further ado, let's go. Unveil the Truth.
Alright, so before we get started, just like we start off everything that is good and holy, we're going to start this off with a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Nelly.
You're welcome. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about chilling confessions of exorcists. This is just something cool and fun and, like, creepy we thought we'd do. Well, maybe not creepy, but they're just creepy. I'm a big horror freak.
And I'm not. So.
Yeah, she's exactly the opposite. We're really exactly the opposite in everything. Except we're both English people. We don't like math. That's the only thing we have in common.
Ew.
Yeah, I know, for real. But, so, I love, like, hearing these stories because it's really cool to, like, hear what's out there and, like, how to keep yourself from these. And these are just, like, really cool stories to learn from and to know for future reference. And to know that this stuff is out there and you want to protect yourself from it. You know what I mean? So, I just think they're really cool stories to, like, listen to. So, we're going to name off a few of those. So, the first one is, there is this exorcist who is talking about what happens when you receive communion unworthily. And I can't remember the exorcist's name, but he was saying that when people go up and receive communion unworthily, because they do that, demons enter the church and accompany them all the way up to the altar. And when they receive the communion unworthily, they start dancing and singing for joy at the sacrilege that you are committing. So because of you receiving communion unworthily, you allow demons into the church and they follow you all the way up until you receive it, and they start dancing with joy and happiness and excitement because of the sacrilege that you just committed.
Wow.
Yeah, that one's pretty chilling, huh?
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah. I know, and that's scary.
Yeah.
I'm just like, maybe that'll make you think twice next time. I know it's scary to think about. It's really a big deal, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have no words. That's tough. That's tough.
That's
all I can say.
Well, no one to think that, like, the demons, like, actually enter the church, you know? Because normally I've heard stories like, we don't see it, but there are angels and demons fighting outside mass all the time, protecting us. So the fact that these actually get to come in because of you and get to, like, basically scowl at the Lord when you receive him unworthily is just so sad. So make sure you do an examination of conscience when you receive communion.
Yeah, and I think it also comes to show about the importance of the Eucharist so much that evil wants to destroy it. And I think that's kind of a recurring theme with these as well. So we'll get into that in some of the other ones, but go ahead.
And something else that's also interesting is that the demons also, like, attack tradition. I've noticed they attack Latin Mass, they attack the communion, they attack Mary, they attack the most important things in our faith.
Yeah, like Catholic orthodoxy.
Exactly.
Basically.
So that's why they say sometimes if demons are tormenting you, it's not necessarily that you're doing something bad, but it could also be that you're doing something really good. And, like, we've made a video about facts about demons, like, we've talked about them, but these are just, like, exorcist stories.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Fun stuff. So one of the ones that I have, since we're talking about communion, that works very well. So one of the ones that I have is from Father Gabriel something. He's an exorcist. I don't remember, but I'll post a link to the video down below that talked about it. This was in a 1975 exorcism.
So that's recent, huh?
Well, I mean, recent, comparably speaking, from the church history, but also kind of a while ago. It was just several decades ago. And so in this exorcism, under, like, because you know how whenever the priests do want, you know, demons to confess something, they do have to say in the name of the Holy Virgin Mary or in the name of God, like,
so
to
they have
bind
control
them.
over them.
Yeah, to bind them and to, like, strict them, adhere them to the truth. So in this particular exorcism, under the influence of, you know, in the name of God, the demons actually confessed that in, you know, hell, they worked hard to get communion on the hand to be, like, passed in the church.
Oh my gosh.
And that they were working hard for it. And then I think the demon also said that, you know, you should not receive communion on the hand. Like, even the Pope gives communion on the mouth. Again, this is 1975. The Pope gives communion on the mouth. And he's under the influence. He also, the exorcist later on was like, okay, under the name of the Virgin Mary, like, tell the full truth. And the demon said that the Virgin Mary says,
they hate the Virgin.
Yeah, that if she, well, they can't even say her name, right?
Yeah.
So that he said, like, she, and pointed up, that if she were to be here now and receive communion, she would receive communion on her knees, on the mouth, and bowing down. Like doing a little bow, or bowing deeply while she was receiving communion. And so it's since we're talking about like receiving communion, it's even interesting to see how even the way in which you receive communion,
the demons involved in.
Yeah, so that one was tough. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy that the demons specifically work to get on the hands. And I mean, and we've always talked about how we believe it's better to receive on the tongue because it excludes like possible ways of sacrilege and it's more reverent and stuff. So that's crazy that because I remember that's what my mom said. She said that as after Vatican II, they had good intention, but there's a lot of corruptness in it. And so because of that, it was their little way of like trying to
people found
degrade
ways
the Eucharist.
To go into it and like spread.
Indoctrinate. Yeah. That's the way, and that's one of the ways. Wow, that's pretty crazy.
So that was tough.
That is pretty bad.
These are all kind of tough.
Yeah, these are all kind of tough, but they're important to know because it's important to know that demons exist. They're after you. You need to pay attention. They're in our little everyday life. You know, a lot of people don't think about the spiritual world or the underworld or supernatural, but that junk exists, and it is scary. And that's why I'm so happy to be Catholic because we have the best protection from it. Yeah. Like, there's this one girl who's quoted and she said, Have you ever seen somebody possessed by a demon and somebody need an exorcist and they say, oh, I'm going to go call the Seventh-day Adventist Baptist preacher.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I saw that too.
Yeah, it was
like
so
everyone...
funny. And like, that's so true. Everybody dogs the Catholics until they need an exorcist. Then they call the Catholics because they know.
I think even Trump, he's not Catholic, but then when he was going to take office, he like had them do an exorcism.
Wow,
so,
really?
He called a priest.
I didn't know
and
that.
they enthroned Our Lady of Fatima in the White House.
I didn't know that.
Before entering the White House, he had a priest do an exorcism.
I don't blame him though. Shoot! That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's so funny because it's true. You don't call the Seventh-day Adventist preachers. You don't call the Baptist preachers. Like, they always call Catholics because they know we've got the roots. We got the priest. We got the prayers. We got the specific prayers that expel demons. We got Mary.
I remember even one time I was talking to one of my friends who's atheist, and I was like, I need to talk to a priest. And he was like, why are you possessed?
Why are you possessed? Oh my gosh.
Like, bro, it's not that bad.
Not that deep. All right, so the next one is a story that my Aunt Mary told me. So her sister had shared it with her, and it was about how the demons react to Latin Mass. Ooh. And I was going to tell you the story, but she sent me the actual link to it, so I'm just going to read it word for word. So it's Father Peter Curata talking about what Father Ripperger said, and Father Ripperger is an exorcist. And his quote is, when Latin was removed from prayers in the 60s, and that's around the time that they started receiving on the hands too. Yeah. When Latin was removed from prayers in the 60s.
The sexual liberation movement.
Yeah, exactly. That's when everything kind of broke loose. So, when Latin was removed from the prayers in the 60s, all hell broke loose throughout the world. He further said, Latin Mass, Latin exorcism, Latin sacraments crushed the devil. Father Ripperger, actually Hebrew, Greek, and Latin were affixed to the instrument of our salvation. That's why they're sacred. The Latin Mass was prayed around the world for centuries. This was the answer to the Tower of Babel. So they're basically saying that stuff is fixed in our salvation. Well, we've talked about how important Latin is. Mm-hmm. So here's the actual story. A demonically possessed man whom I know that has gone through 12 sessions of exorcism with the diocesan priest told me that part of his healing is gauged by how long he can sit at Holy Mass before the demon reacts with aversion and manifests through his body and begins tormenting him. So basically he's saying that they experimented with him how long he can stay in Mass before the demon takes over, and that determines how possessed he is and how strong he is.
I've heard this story before.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. He said that he can sit in the Novus Ordo Mass until the consecration at which the demon will rage, manifest, and begin tormenting him. So he can stay in Mass until consecration, then he has to leave. He said the demon manifests and torments him in the Latin Mass as soon as Father ascends the sanctuary and starts his opening prayer. Wow. He said the demon recognizes the power of the Latin prayers, and the reverence shown brings forth an avalanche of graces almost immediately. So in the normal Mass, the Novus Ordo Mass, he was able to withstand until the consecration. And as soon as consecration happened, the demons took over him and he had to leave. Yeah. But as soon as the Latin Mass started with opening prayer, as soon as he made the sign of the cross and started speaking in Latin, he had to vacate the premises. Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh my goodness.
Well, and that's number one thing for expelling demons is Latin.
Yeah. And that's interesting too how it said there how what did it say? That the Latin was the answer to the Tower of Babel? Oh, yeah. Think about how, like, prior to the changes, Mass was only done in Latin. There was a unity there. Kind of like in Tower of Babel, there was one language.
German, African, American, and you'd all come together and know that you were Catholic.
And the Tower of Babel, same way. Prior to the Tower of Babel and the separation that happened, there was one language. that united the people until afterwards, God had to confuse them so that they wouldn't so we wouldn't be, crazy and be like Icarus and fly up to the sun, close to the sun. Mm-hmm. But I probably shouldn't have made the reference, but but you know what I'm saying though, mm-hmm. To basically get a big head about ourselves, mm-hmm. and so God had to separate, and that's kind of a sign of division almost, and so by making it so that we didn't have that one common language anymore in the mass, now we have different languages. In the mass, so that's kind of the
what happened with the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
Oh shoot!
I never thought about it that way, but just right now that you read that it said the Latin mass is the answer to the Tower of Babel.
Because think about it, you have all these different languages, and you come together in one place, and you all speak one language.
Because God wants us to be united, but in Him, not united against Him. You know?
Exactly. Wow, that's a good way of putting it. Nice.
That's tough.
I like how you said that about everything. That's tough. That's tough.
That's tough. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's that one. Mm-hmm. Then I have another story. This one happened with a priest that I know, and it actually happened here.
Wow.
In our city. I won't say what city we're in, but it happened in our city. So this priest who was visiting some people that I know, and my parents were in the car with him. I don't know where they were going to go, but they were going somewhere, and they were in the car, and I had to stay home because I had school. I mean, probably better. I would have freaked out, but but I had to stay home because I had to do school and work and stuff. And they were they were in the car. They were driving. They were doing I don't know what, or they were looking for something. And the priest starts talking to someone on the phone who this man who was having periodic issues. He was guiding him and helping him out through his possession. And all of a sudden, the demon started speaking over the phone. And he put him on speaker, so everyone
just puts him on speaker. Hey, listen to this. That would be so scary.
I don't know if he had him on speaker the whole time.
Yeah, but
or
he had him
on speaker. But he was on
still,
speaker.
That'd be
they
scary.
all heard it. My parents say that they heard it.
Wow.
And so they heard the voice of the demon, and the priest was told the people in the car and my parents start singing Ave Maria, which is the Fatima song, the Ave Ave the. Is that how it goes in the Fatima one?
No, Ave Maria.
El 13 de Mayo, la Virgen María. Mm-hmm. That song, right? And so they started singing that song, and right when they started singing that song, the demon started screaming. Was no, not that song. That song burns us. We don't like that song. And so and so with that song, it was just to show the hatred towards Mary.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and we've talked about how much they say that demons and the devil hates Mary more than God.
Yeah.
Because she was just a low handmaid that overtook them and crushed their heads.
Yeah, because really what destroyed the demon was his own pride. Pride goes before the fall. Pride was what led to his fall. And so because she is so humble in both the physical, material sense, and even in the spiritual sense, he's he gets a big head about it.
Yeah.
And how, him and his pride, he doesn't want someone who's the complete opposite of him, someone so humble to be
right.
And how is she gonna defeat me,
Yeah, and that's why it's good to keep Mary close to you, too, because it'll help you defend against the devils and demons. And
Scapular. Scapular to the rescue.
Right, for real. And rosary.
Yeah. And rosary. And rosary to the rescue.
Rosary to the rescue.
But yeah, so that was it. They were saying that the song burned them. Just them singing the song, it wasn't even
made them sizzle.
Yeah.
Wow, that's deep.
Made them sizzle.
Wow. So the last one I have is super short, but it was something really cool. Pints with Aquinas was interviewing Father Carlos Martins, who is an exorcist, and one of the things that he said that stuck out, he said that he was asking which of the sacraments are powerful, and or they were explaining how powerful the sacraments are, and then he asked what's more powerful, one confession or one exorcism. And obviously we know how powerful exorcisms are because they expel demons. And he said that one confession is worth more than 1,000 exorcisms.
Wow.
Yeah, so one confession, by going to confession one time, all that power and grace that you just received is more powerful than 1,000 exorcisms.
Yikes.
Yeah, and I think it's stronger than 1,000 exorcisms too.
I think probably because of the bond of what it is, because it's a sacrament, whereas exorcism isn't a sacrament. It's a ritual to help people who are in desperate spiritual need, but confession is a sacrament. It's and we made a whole series about the sacraments, and we also made a video on confession itself about how that really is a way of reinforcing your relationship with God.
Right. Well, it's the only time really in the world that God directly communicates with us and directly interferes with us, like mingles with us.
Interacts.
Thank you. It's the one time that Jesus interacts with us. Every single thing, the communion, confession, baptism, he directly interacts with us personally, himself in the sacraments. Yeah. Whereas the exorcism, they could be calling down God to help them, but the sacraments were like literally talking to him and being with him physically.
Yeah. Well, that one is just it's the mediation, because the priest is, or the bishop, usually a bishop is the one who can do exorcisms, is in persona Christi while they're doing the exorcism. That's true. But it doesn't have that same level of being a sacrament.
Because God is coming straight to you through the sacrament personally. Like, it's not even spiritually, he literally is coming right to you, especially in the Eucharist. That's literally him. So that's why sacraments are so powerful, because it's literally God interfering with our physical world. Mm-hmm. Interacting with our, I shouldn't say interfering with our, yeah. So those are some chilling confessions. We thought that those would be cool to say. Maybe if we hear more of them, we'll give you some more, because these are just really cool for me. I mean, for me, I'm just kind of weird. It's fun for me. Like, it's cool to hear these things, because it's like, dang, this is stuff that we need to look out for and prepare for.
Whereas I'm kind of on the edge of my seat right now, but
Oh yeah, I see.
I mean, the thing that I'm not gonna say really into, but that I really do know a lot about is, deliverance stuff, and like I know a lot about how New Age and stuff, but that's because my parents were formed in this is New Age, that's New Age and stuff. So that's what I know about. So I could tell you all maybe not all about it, but I could tell you some stuff about that.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
And whereas I'm super into the study of demonology. Like, I love the study of demonology because it helps prepare you and stuff.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So I find it cool and a way of a life lesson, and you find it super scary. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, I know so many priests though who aren't even scared of demons. They're just why would I be scared of demons?
Yeah.
I'm just
no,
wow.
That's true. There are a lot of people who are like that.
Yeah. There's very few that I know of that are actually scared of demons and don't, because did you know that's what the devil wants? That's what demons want. He wants you to be like, oh, I'm scared of you. Oh, I don't want that. When I see demons, I instantly flee. That scares me. And he especially wants priests to feel that way too. I heard somebody talking, and I think it was either a theologian or a priest who was actually saying that the devil wants you to say, oh, I'm scared of that, I fear you. And instead we need to go towards it and be like, I will take you head on. I'm not scared of you. I've God on my side. So just us talking about how scared we are of demons, the devil loves that. Whereas we need to be like, oh no, I'm not scared of the devil. I got Mary on my side. I got Jesus on my side.
Thanks for throwing
I got
shade
God on my
at
side.
me.
Well, no, because I do it too.
No, I know what
anytime you
saying,
think some possession's going on in your house, you instantly freak out, and the devil loves that. He feeds off of that.
Well, because it's fear. Fear doesn't come from God.
Mm-hmm.
Fear, anxiety and worry and fear does not come from God.
Right.
And so we shouldn't be afraid, on the edge of our seats the whole time.
Exactly.
But obviously we do need to be aware and cautious.
Right. Exactly. And that's one of the examples that the priest used. He said that some priests are just oh no, I don't really like talking about demonology, or I try to stay away from demonology movies and stuff like that. And he was just that's what the devil wants. He wants you to be scared of him. So I thought that was a cool way of putting it. But definitely be aware.
And my thing is just not going too far into it too. Because
definitely. Oh shoot, yeah, I definitely do. There's definitely a fine line between exploring it for knowledge reasons and for purposeful reasons, and just exploring it because you want to desensitize yourself, or you want to be cool, or you want to learn scary things. I'm not like that, but I like learning it for educational purposes.
Yeah, for prevention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just to know the stuff is out there, to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. All right, so that is everything. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah, make sure to comment, share, and subscribe this video. Check out the link tree down below in the description for more stuff like this and our other platforms. And yeah.
And we're praying for you. God bless you, and keep the fire burning.
Bye.